Sampson, 47-45. North Carolina let him have it, but the game is over, and Dean Smith, congratulated by Terry Holland. The Tar Heels have been celebrating for the last few minutes, actually, Jeff. But now they make it official. The Tar Heels are crowned kings again. A familiar old story. The 9th time in 16 years, under the brilliant coaching of Dean Smith, he's been able to do that. Terry Holland's team, they committed almost to the same extent. But they made a great battle out of it here in the showdown match without one of their all-star performances.
The amazing thing about this Carolina team, if you had to imagine, you'd think they were seniors, Jim, the way they play together. They're such a cohesive unit. And yet Jimmy Black is the only senior on the floor for Carolina most of the time. They just play like veterans. They played their game plan. They jumped off to a lead just like I'm sure they hoped they could. Then they battled right down to the wire. They went into their stall offense. They hit the key free throws when they had to. That's what it takes to be a great basketball team, and they certainly are that. But as you mentioned, they may meet again. Virginia should be confident in that it was such a close game. They did not have their all-ACC performer, Othell Wilson. He hopefully will be back for further tournament play. And we get a look at Jimmy Black starting the ceremonies of taking the net down. And believe me, having been there, that's quite a thrill.
Wow, sweet victory, right, Jeff?
Yes, it is.
And to show you again the versatility and the temper of this North Carolina team, James Worthy got off to a fantastic start. 16 points on his first 8 shots, didn't miss. And then did not even score in the second half. But that, of course, is due partly the way the half was played. On the other half, Michael Jordan, who's a leading candidate for Rookie of the Year in the ACC, did not score a field goal in the first half. Came back and hit 4 in a row. It actually turned out to be the pivotal shots of this game.
They were the big shots. Virginia was doing a good job blocking off the middle, not letting them into the middle, but Michael Jordan hit it from the outside. Big baskets in tense situations.
And so here you see North Carolina. Second half got to be kind of a slow-down affair. And this game, in all honesty, can't go down as one of the classics because of that. But it was certainly between matching two tremendous teams. No one questioning the strategy because it paid off for North Carolina. They won the title, and that's the big thing.
That's what they were out here battling 40 minutes for.
That's the 27th victory for North Carolina this year in 29 games. They'll be headed to the NCAA to represent the Atlantic Coast Conference, where Virginia gets its third loss only in 32 games, and 2 of those at the hands of this team, North Carolina. So the team stand 2-1 so far this year. The Tar Heels winning the rubber match today, and to head on to the NCAA playoffs. One of the favorites perhaps to go all the way to the Final Four, and perhaps to win Dean Smith's first national title. He came so close last year, going to the last game against Indiana, and lost to Bobby Knight's tremendously talented ball club in Philadelphia. But now the main goal being New Orleans, but now North Carolina will wait to see just where the selection committee is going to send them to start their play.
And it's hard to imagine that last year's team missing is Al Wood on this year's team, a great basketball player. Michael Jordan comes in, fits in admirably well, does a great job. And I got to think, Jim, at this point that this UNC team perhaps is stronger and certainly has more momentum than last year's team.
I think you're right. I don't think there's any question about that the starting 5 has been judged by experts across the country throughout the year as without doubt the best starting 5 in the country. That's the end of the game. We'll be back with a final wrap-up. Oh, wait a minute. Here's Dean Smith being hoisted now to trim the nets. One of the most brilliant coaching records in the history of the game is Dean Smith. His Knox has put him right there with Adolph Rupp, Johnny Wooden, and Hank Harvey. Well, now that's the end of the game, and we'll be back with a final wrap-up after these messages from your local station. I'll stay here. Yeah. Who's what? Oh, I didn't care. Make a difference to me. They're both great teams. Well, this kind of a repeat story of 1977. That's the last time these two teams met here on the Greensboro floor for the Atlantic Coast Conference Championship. North Carolina won that game, if you recall. It was like 69-60, and sent North Carolina on to the NCAA playoffs. Eventually made the Final Four, and they made the final game. That was against Marquette in Atlanta, and came so close to winning a national championship, losing a 4-point lead in the final minutes. So maybe it's an omen of what might be coming along. Not to go to the Final Four and lose, but maybe to make it that far and have another chance for a national title. Certainly North Carolina put one big notch to his belt here today, winning another ACC championship, number 9 for Dean Smith, and certainly going to get their trip to try in the NCAA because this automatically qualifies them. And in some way, although there's no guarantee for this, only many feel they'll get the top spot in the national seeding, number 1 among the 48, and to be placed in the Eastern Regional. It is probably a probability that Virginia will still rank very high in the other seeding, if that's the way it's to be, and may wind up in the Western Regional. The reason for that is those two could not meet in the finals, and the pairing committee and the basketball committee are making every effort to see that two teams in the same conference are not going to wind up for a national championship. Can't be avoided altogether, because you never know how teams are going to do. But at least they'll keep the powerful teams separated as best they can and have them paired up before they can reach the last one. That would come in New Orleans in about 3 weeks hence in the last weeks of March. But it was a great first half here with tremendous action, and then a dramatic second half. North Carolina choosing to spread the thing out. It came off an offensive rebound. You must remember that. They had missed a shot, grabbed an offensive rebound, then spread the Virginia defense. And over about the last 11 or 12 minutes, they slowed things down to a slow pace. Virginia tried to take hold of the strategy and set North Carolina to the free throw line in the final minutes, hoping for a miss, which they got with a 2-point deficit. But then, to their fate, turned over the ball. And North Carolina then put it away, getting Ralph Sampson the last moment dunk. And losing by 2, 47-45. This one will go in the books. It certainly will be remembered as two of the greatest teams ever to play for an ACC championship. The first half was classic, the second half dramatic and tense. Leading scorer still was James Worthy with 16, and now let's hear from the winning coach. Here's Jeff Mullins on the court.
With me is a very happy Coach Dean Smith. Congratulations, Coach.
Thank you, Jeff. It's fun to win the ACC Tournament Championship. They do say you're the champions. 3 weeks from now, we'll say whether it was good or bad to have won. But we may not beat Virginia again, and we were trying to win this game very much. I don't know whether they were, but although both teams played extremely well.
Early in the game, Coach, you went right to James Worthy inside, and of course he responded so well.
Well, they switched to a lot more zone after that, and James had a tremendous game. I thought Virginia played extremely well. Remember, they missed Wilson, and that is something missing, and they were really not up to par, but I thought the other kids for them did a great job shooting it in.
Well, your offense really ham and egged it today. You went inside early, and then Michael Jordan gave you a big lift in the second half.
We have a little play from Michael, and he had a hot streak, so we tried it, and then, of course, they told him to come chase us, and they didn't want to chase us, and consequently, that's why the score was so low.
Coach, we know that defense wins championships, and I thought your defense was great today.
Well, we play more zone because of Sampson and everything. I think we're a great defensive team, but we didn't really show that as much as I'd like to.
I know your players are receiving the award. Congratulations. And now back to Jim.
Okay, Jeff, maybe later we get an idea of some of the North Carolina players. You know, it was said here by, quoted some of the players as saying they would prefer to go away to a regional rather than play at home. They felt they played better on the road than they did at home, where they relied maybe on the fans to get them going, whereas they went on the road, they went more fired up and went after things more aggressively. That's an interesting and intriguing point. But North Carolina, some believe now with this victory, may have nailed down a spot in the Eastern Regional, which would keep them more or less on home ground. The feeling being that their first round play might come in Charlotte, which would be their home state, and then go back to Raleigh for the regional, also in their home state. If that's the case, then they'll have the home fan support. Now, there's Worthy, our most valuable player for the North Carolina team. already been named to the All-America first team. And he has developed into an awesome offensive player for North Carolina, using his great moves and power from power forward. The most valuable player for Virginia, Ralph Sampson, who continues his great career. And ironically, they're both juniors in what may have been the greatest class of all time. Jeff, what's your feeling about...
I can.
What you're feeling, Jeff? Can you hear me, Jeff?
Jim, it's hard to hear out on the floor. I didn't hear your question.
Well, I know you're out there with a lot of cheering and yelling. What's your feeling about North Carolina feeling perhaps they might be better away from home than they would playing here in the East Regional? At least one player was quoted as saying that.
Well, of course, I can't imagine them wanting to go too far with all their loyal fans in this area of the country. And, of course, with the regional being played in Charlotte and then in Raleigh, I've always felt that's a very important factor.